We can't tell you how frustrating it was for us to upload our podcast when we first got started. The websites were clunky, we had data limits, and it was all so confusing. That is, until we found Zencastr. Zencastr is an online platform built for podcasters to not only upload their podcasts, track their listeners, connect their audience, and so much more. Zencastr plans have no upload or download limits, so your cost won't grow as you do. Embed their player that automatically updates to show the latest episode of your show. Zencastr lets you see your podcast downloads along with your traffic, website, and Google Analytics. Zencastr also supports multiple podcasts under one account. The best part is, if you already have a podcast on another platform, you can switch to Zencastr with a one-click importer, all free of charge. So what are you waiting for? Head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/Zencastr to start saving time and money with your podcast today. Hello and welcome to this week's episode of How to Make a Podcast. My name is Nick Miller and I am joined by my best good buddy, Mr. John Bunn. John, I feel like it's been a while for some reason that we have recorded a How to Make a Podcast episode. It is really, really great to just catch up and hang out with you. How you doing?
I'm doing great. It's October. It's birthday month for me, of course. It's almost your birthday month. October 30th. All gifts can be sent to me via digital direct messages on Instagram. Just at John Bunn with a little underscore at the end. Send all the gifts you want. It's birthday month. I'm really excited. Obviously, this week is really big for us. We got a lot going on with the Perfect Podcast Challenge starting like today if you're listening to this. So a lot of things going on. Our sponsors just renewed for this podcast and our other podcast. The money's coming in. We're putting it in our bank account. Life is good. I did just spend like a ton of money on a lot of new kitchen appliances, which my wife said, you buy all kinds of tools for your work that are high quality and the best. I deserve. She stay at home and she's like, I'm using this dishwasher that doesn't clean my dishes well, and I want a new dishwasher. And I was like, I'll one up you. Life is good right now. Why don't you get yourself a dishwasher, an oven, a stovetop, a microwave, all the things. Get them all to match. So we went and she picked out everything she wanted. That's what I've been up to.
Man, you're a big spender. I will say this. If you are out there and you're like, man, I just want to own a home. I just want to buy a home. And let's say you buy a $100,000 home. That's, good, starter home for most people, right? Sure. You're probably going to spend 10 to 20% on top of that after you buy the house on like stuff to go in it. Like people don't think about that when you buy a house. But
that's very true.
But it's true. Well, I'm happy that you got all these new appliances and all of that stuff. You know what? My wife called the electrician the other day because we had a few outlets and some things that were just weird in our house or whatever, that just, I could do it, but I just haven't. And so she's like, I'm tired of it. She calls him and then there's odds in it and stuff. And the guy's like, okay, that's going to be $700. And she... okay, you're here, just do it. But later she was like, I didn't expect it to be that much. And I was like, when you have a skill that not many other people have, or it's something that people don't want to do, you can charge a lot of money for it.
And I just have to say this, because my life for a very long time, every time we needed to spend money, it was an emergency, which is not fun. And if you're in that position, that is one of the main reasons why we are so excited about How to Make a Podcast and our other podcast, How to Film Weddings, because it has put both of us in a position where we have margin in our lives. So it's just like, yeah, it sucks to spend money on stuff, but we have money to do it. And it's because of these podcasts and our courses and so we want to be encouragement to you to help you grow your podcast. I have had several messages from people that are just thanking us because they are monetizing their podcast already. We're going to talk about it a lot in the podcast or the Perfect Podcast Challenge, which if you are not part of that, Nick, the link is what?
So this week, okay,
yes.
We are dropping this on Tuesday. Yesterday, Monday, we started day one of the Perfect Podcast Challenge. But there are replays available. You can still jump in on it. So if you are interested in this challenge, and we did this same challenge in July, and we had such great responses. There were so many people that really got into it, that really took their podcasting up a level. And so if you head over to perfectpodcastchallenge.com, made it simple for you, perfectpodcastchallenge.com, say that 5 times fast, and you can sign up there and you can join our group where we are going through this challenge and encouraging you and challenging you to do things in your podcast to take it up a level, to take it up a notch. The big thing that John and I like to talk about is monetizing your podcast. And while that is maybe the end goal, that's what you want to do, there's a lot of foundation work that you need to do before you can really jump into monetizing your podcast. And that is what the Perfect Podcast Challenge is. We're talking about things like about your niche and like building some pillars and like planning out episodes and all of this kind of stuff to really help you lay that groundwork for the foundation work for your podcast so that you can do some of these other things. Anyways, again, we're a day in, but you can come in today, catch up. That is perfectpodcastchallenge.com. We're excited about it. It's good.
It's
John,
really
what else
good.
you got about that?
It pumps me up. Like we have a private Facebook group just for that challenge, and you can join it, and people are in there and interacting. And, we have our main Facebook group, but we wanted a separate one just for this challenge. And this is people that just want to take their podcast to the next level. And we've seen so many people join the challenge, start doing the daily actionable things, and start seeing real results. Ryan, one of our students, incorporated some of this. He just messaged me and said that he booked a $9,000 sponsor for 3 months, $9,000 for a sponsor, and then another one for $5,000. And he's like, I'm literally making like $6,000 a month right now off my podcast because of the things that I'm learning in this. And so that's why we're doing it. That's why we're here. And an awesome thing that we like, in our weekly episodes is just to give you something to chew on, something to think on for the week that helps you. Every time I talk to somebody that's listening, they're like, yeah, it just gets my wheels turning. It makes me excited about doing these things. And we hope that it's an encouragement to you. So Nick, without further ado, let's get into the meat for today.
Yes.
Tell us what's up, because I know you're really passionate about this subject.
Yeah. So one of the things that John and I believe in is we believe that you should be producing the highest quality podcast that is physically possible for you to produce. So we have, said stuff like, when it comes to a microphone, people are like, what mic do I get? Which one should I get? Our advice is always get the best mic that you can afford. So, let's say you want the $500 Shure SM7B, which is a really, really nice mic, but you don't have enough money for that. Let's say you only have $100. So buy a really nice $100 mic, and then maybe you can work up to that, okay? So we think that you should be producing the highest quality product that you can. And with that, we believe that the audio quality that you are pushing out should matter, okay? We believe that it's something that you need to work on. Okay. And so some of the things that we're talking about producing the highest quality, we're going to get into this audio enhancing, audio mastering talk here in a minute. But we think that to produce the best quality, you need a mic that you can afford. Okay. You need to find a space that is optimum for recording. John, what do I mean by that?
Well, for us, we want to record in a room that either has carpet or a rug or sound panels. Just off to my side here on my wall, I have a bunch of sound panels to absorb sound. I'm in a room with carpet. I am in an office that doesn't have my kids running around in it or anything like that, which is sometimes impossible, but there's not like noisy cars going by, things like that. And so I'm just trying to make it as perfect of a spot to record for optimum sound. And then I'm getting close to the microphone. I'm talking, if I'm way back here, it's a little bit harder to hear me if I'm really far away from the microphone. But if I scoot up and I'm nice and close to my microphone, like little things like that make a big difference. And so also just little things like this shock mount, this arm that we have, for our podcast microphones. Like if I hit my table, you don't hear it or feel it as much. And so we've just tried to really optimize a place that is easy for us to literally push a couple buttons and we're ready to record.
Yeah. So that's what we're thinking about with an optimum space to record. And then we are fans. We include a lot of stuff in our podcast is me saying stupid things or John cracking a silly joke or whatever, because for our brand, we think that it fits with our brand, with the brand that we're trying to produce. So, we say something ridiculous, we say something funny, whatever, we mess up, we flub up over our schmerbs, and then we are going to keep it in the podcast. But there are some people that just doesn't work for them. And so whenever you're producing the best quality of show that you can produce, you need to decide what you want. And if you need to edit it down to make it more polished, that is absolutely fine. John and I keep the ims, the ubs, the breaths, and that kind of stuff in, but there are people that do not like that and they take all of that stuff out. So it's just you want to think about that as what is the best product that you want to produce. Okay, so edit it when necessary. So now, we've talked about those kind of things, but I think a lot of people, John, what is your thought about this? They buy, the $125 Blue Yeti mic, and they think, I have this really nice mic. That's good enough, right? Like I don't need to do anything to the audio or anything like that. That's good enough, right? What do you think?
Yeah, I think a lot of people, and we saw this in the wedding film industry too, like they get so focused on the tech side that they forget what is more important, getting people to hear about their show, getting it to grow, getting the content right. Yes, it's very important that our audio sounds good, but for us, I have a nice mic. That's not enough. Like there's a difference between just good quality audio and then good content that's coming from that. And then also at that point, getting that content to the right earbuds. And that's, so much of the figuring out what your niche is and figuring out what your pillars are and then figuring out where your listeners are, aggregating. Where are they at? And figuring that out and finding groups on Facebook or on Reddit or on Twitter or whatever, and slowly building a tribe. And so that's what we're doing, for a second time here with How to Make a Podcast. When we started this in May, in June, somewhere in there, we're 20 or so episodes in. Every week our numbers go up just a little bit and we keep reaching more and more people with ads because we have money to spend now on ads. And then also we haven't done it as much with this podcast, but like reaching out and getting new guests on our show that have audiences is a huge, huge thing that we recommend for growing your podcast. And so just having a nice mic, having a great room is definitely not enough for you and your podcast.
Yes, that is correct. And I think that whenever we have this idea of, well, I have a nice mic, I'm recording in the optimum situation, I'm able to edit it down, cut out that kind of stuff, but you don't actually enhance your audio or master your audio. Mm-hmm. I don't know about you, John, but I haven't run into many audio engineers in the podcast world where we live in. And so I think that it's just a real daunting thing. It's something that's really scary. It's something that people, it's new. And so people kind of freak out about it. But I will say this, if you can take your audio and make it as good of quality as possible, okay, that is going to help you as you're reaching potential new subscribers, as you're reaching out to potential sponsors. If you sound really great, that's going to go a lot longer way. Okay. Someone that has a setup like ours, where we're enhancing the audio and we're putting in noise reduction and making it sound really good. Okay. I think that we're going to have a chance of attracting more people than someone that, let's say they have the same topic that we have, they kind of have the same personalities that we have, but they're only recording it on their phone in a noisy room and the audio quality just sounds not great. okay, we are able to go further because we are taking these extra steps. So we are talking about enhancing your audio. And what I meant when I asked that question, I have a nice mic, is that good enough? Meaning, do I need to do anything to the audio? Do I need to put it in an editor and anything like that? I
realized that, and I knew that so you're the techie guy, but I just can't help myself when it comes to enhancing your audio. Yes, for sure, for shizzle, for sure. But just making sure that the people, like, if you're to a point with your, like, you do have a nice mic, there are things that you should be doing to enhance that audio. Like, the audio that comes straight out of this microphone is good, but by doing a few things to it, we're able to take it to that next level. And so, yes, that matters. But if you have the best sounding podcast, it still doesn't matter if you're not getting it to the right earbuds. That's all I was trying to say. Yes. But you are right. I did flub that a little bit, which is fine.
I wasn't
my first time messing up ever.
I wasn't trying to call you out, or maybe I was.
Right. I don't care.
So why is it that you should enhance your audio? Number one, you will sound better. And whenever podcasting, yes, there are a lot of people like us that are putting stuff on YouTube and Facebook, so that you can watch it. There's video with it, but well over 90% of podcast is audio only. Okay, So you want it to sound as good as possible. Okay, you enhance it. You make the voice sound a little bit deeper. You make it sound a little fuller, more full, and it's just more pleasing to listen to. Now, if you're listening to highly produced podcasts or anything like that, they have someone that is actually going in and doing these steps to the audio. If you look at listen to the raw audio versus what comes out on the podcast, you will hear a huge difference. So it sounds better, and I think it comes across as more professional. Like, even if you kind of don't know what you're doing, it makes it sound like you do know what you're doing. And that is a great way that you want to help enhance your audio. And
it's really good for someone like Nick, because he doesn't know what he's doing.
I don't know what I'm doing. I never know what I'm doing. Sorry, and I think that it is going to help you get new listeners and also help you with sponsors. And again, this might just be kind of a minor thing, right? But again, all of it together, if you package it really well, if you have the right branding, if you have the right personalities, if your audio sounds great, it's all going to come together and help you produce something that you can be really proud of and that other people will want to invest in. 100%. What do you have to add?
Yeah, I think that, like, whenever we are sending our episodes to our sponsors, there's a level of confidence that we have, knowing that it just sounds great and knowing that we are including our personality but like, if it was something like Nick was saying, like we're recording it from our phone in a busy, noisy room, that's a little embarrassing to try to actually make money doing this. And so there's a difference. There's hobbyists that just want to record and it's fun and it's an outlet and that's great. And, the people that we're really trying to reach with this podcast are people that want to be able to change their family tree by monetizing their podcast. And that little stuff adds up big time. And if you think that, like, the sponsors that you're interested in you aren't going to the podcast app and listening to your episodes, you are quite wrong. They are checking it out to see what it sounds like and feels like. And so these little things can take it over the top. Be like, wow, that's just a really nicely produced show. That sounds legit. They're not questioning their investment when it comes to your podcast. So all great things. I know we want to talk about, like, actually programs and ways to enhance your audio. There's a lot to really think about and break down. So we're going to do that right after this break. If you have a pulse, you probably hate the subject of taxes and running the bookkeeping portion of your business. But like it or not, if you want to be a successful podcaster, you are going to have to pay attention to your numbers. But don't worry, we have the answer for you, Core Financial. Our friends over at Core Financial have taken the pressure off of us so we can focus on what we love doing most, running our podcast. They take care of all of our taxes, monthly bookkeeping, financial plans, and make sure we take full advantage of all of the tax benefits we qualify for. It just feels good knowing we aren't going to get a big surprise during tax season. If you are serious about building a business with your podcast, head on over to howtomakeapodcast.co/core to see what they can do for you.
So you've got everything you need for your podcast. You've recorded your audio and video. You're so excited, but wait, you don't know how to master the audio or edit the video of your podcast. We know someone who can help, the podcast editors. Picture this. You record both audio and video for your podcast. You upload it to your remote editor, and a few days later, your podcast is ready for you to upload and push to the world. What will you do with your extra time? Connect with sponsors? Grow your Facebook group? Start that project or even course you have dreamed of for months? The possibilities are endless. We are blown away by the podcast editors and love working with them and using their services. They can edit audio, video, or both for your podcast. Don't get stuck trying to do this on your own. Get in touch with the podcast editors today. If you'd like to save 50% off of your first project, head over to howtomakeapodcast.co/thepodcasteditors.
All right, we are back from break, and we want to start this segment with the question of the day presented by the podcast editors. Nick, here's the question. What programs should we use to edit our podcast?
Our what?
Our podcast. I'm leaving it.
Okay, our podcasts.
What
our
program
podcast.
should we use to edit our podcast?
Yeah. Okay. Talking about not editing stuff, just our personalities. There you go. You got it right there. So there are 3 programs that John and I actually recommend. One is paid and 2 of them are for free. The first one that we use is Adobe Audition. And this is the paid program. Probably the biggest reason that John and I use Adobe Audition is because we need other Adobe programs for our wedding film business. And so we are paying like $50 or something a month or so for the Adobe Creative Cloud, and Audition is just included in that. So that is step 1, why we chose Audition. It is a professional grade audio editing software. So it has everything that most podcasters could ever want or ever dream to need. And so we love it. Since we are in the Adobe world, we know, all of the Adobe programs really work well together. So if you know Photoshop, you have a really good understanding of Premiere and a really good understanding of Audition and Illustrator, like all of that kind of stuff. So because we use Premiere all the time for our wedding film business, we had a really good understanding of knowing Adobe Audition. That's one of the reasons why we love it. Again, there are some things that you're able to do in Audition that you are not able to do in the other ones. But if you don't have the money, we have a couple of other great options for you that you can use for editing your programs. The first one is a free one, and this is Mac and Windows, and that's Audacity. John, I've played with Audacity a little bit. Have you ever played with Audacity?
Nada. I've had Audition for like 14 years, so, or 12 years. So I have not, but I know that you dove into it for a lot of stuff for our course and stuff like that. So yeah. I'm gonna defer to you.
Yeah. I wanted this one to be one where I talk all of the time. And so I'm just trying to make you feel like you're a part of the conversation.
I'm great just learning along with everybody else right now.
Okay.
Yep.
So Audacity, this is both Mac and Windows program. It is completely free. It's an open source program. And so you can go in and download and use this. You can record, if you have a USB mic, you can record straight into your computer, and then you can edit the audio afterwards. So Audacity is number 1. The other one is free, but it is Mac specific, and that is GarageBand. Okay. John, have you ever messed with GarageBand?
I have messed with GarageBand.
Okay,
That's
so
all
why
I
don't
have
you
to
tell
say about
everyone
that.
about it? No. I mean, with both Audacity and GarageBand, I have messed a little bit about them to learn a little bit about them, but because I have Audition, I don't need to mess with Audacity or GarageBand. So I'm sure some of you out there, if you're on a Mac and you want free, you might have played with them both. But both GarageBand and Audacity, you can plug your mic straight into them, you can record into them, and then you can enhance and mess with the audio with them. We just prefer Audition. Now, one thing that I will say, whenever you do record your audio, you want to record it in the highest file rate as possible. And the reason that you want to record it in the highest file rate as possible, so that there's as much information in the file so that you can mess with it more. What we recommend, I can't even remember the names of these things, John. I'm good, but you want to record in 32-bit float if you can, and then 48,000 hertz. I think is that the sample rate?
I don't know.
I don't know. Anyways, I sound really amateurish right now, but I know that you want to record it in 48,000 hertz and 32-bit float if possible. The highest bit rate that you can, and it's like 16, 24, and then 32-bit float. 32 is the highest rate that you can do there. So you want to record in high quality that you can. Obviously, the higher that you record, the more space it's going to take up on your computer. You just need to know that. These files aren't massive, like 10 or 12 gigabyte files, but we're looking at, 500 megabytes instead of 200 megabytes. Okay, just throwing that out there. So you have your program, Audition, Audacity, GarageBand, or your audio editor of choice, and there are 3 things that we recommend that you need to look into to actually enhancing your audio. Okay, the first one is EQ. Now, if you open up the EQ editor, it's kind of a square, and there's a bunch of lines that you can move dots up and down on. Okay, that's
science.
the best way.
Yeah, that's the science.
Yeah, yes, that's science. And so most people's voices rest in the, I believe it's somewhere between the 4,000 and 6,000 hertz area. Okay, that's where most people kind of speaking, unless you have a really, really high voice or a really, really low voice. That's going to be most people's natural voices. And so what I do with EQ is I kind of make a little kind of bell curve starting at about the 1,000 hertz and just kind of bring it up a little bit and then kind of swooping back down toward the really, really high end. It's like 10,000 or something like that. Okay. And that just pulls up the higher parts of the voice and makes them more recognizable and makes it more clear. It kind of makes your voice a little bit fuller, okay? More fuller, more full. So that's what I am doing there with EQ. Do you have anything you want to add to that, or do you just want me to keep on going?
So on the EQ, yeah, we don't have a ton of time, so I won't talk too much. But I just like when I go in and I've messed with it. Like you don't want to try to do too much because you'll make your voice sound terrible. There's a handful of tutorials and things like that and some stuff we're going to talk about here in a minute. But don't like not mess with these things. Definitely grab the EQ in your editor and make sure that you understand what's going on. You can play with it, mess with it, and see what sounds good. But less is more. It's just a little bit of finessing is kind of what you're doing when you're EQing it.
Yeah. Another thing that I'm always adding is a high pass filter. And what this does is it basically takes out all of the really, really low, like low end kind of bass, really, really low sounds. Okay. And makes it so that it's not as garbly on the low end. Okay. So a high pass filter. And then I am adding a compressor. And what the compressor does, this is really what makes your voice like really sound rich and full. It's taking the stuff that's on the really, really low end and kind of moving it up, and then taking the stuff that's on the really, really high end and moving it into the middle. So it's taking these points, you have your waveforms. It's taking the stuff at the very bottom and then the stuff at the very top, squishing it together so that your voice sounds a lot more full. Okay, if that makes sense. So those are kind of the three things that I am really looking into as I am building out my audio, what I'm going to sound like. One of the great things about all of these programs is you can make presets. So I can do this in Adobe Audition or Audacity or GarageBand, and then after I've got it dialed in and got it figured out, I can push like 2 buttons, and then this entire preset is added to my audio, so it's the same every single time because my voice is the same, my setup is the same, my room's the same. Everything is going to be the exact same. So that's something that is great about these programs. One thing that you might and Audition is definitely going to be better at this than GarageBand or Audacity. You might need to add a noise reduction filter. I would Google directions on how to do that. That's probably going to be the easiest way for you to do it. Again, don't overdo it. Don't have this noise reduction be like super, super a lot, because whenever you do that, then it really messes with the voice when you're talking. But if you can hear a little background noise, that might be something that you want to do. Okay, John. I just talked a whole lot.
I love it. I love listening to your very Michael Cera sounding voice. It wasn't painful. Yeah, I think that these little things, it's a lot to process, no pun intended, but like at the same time, it's really not much. It's your EQ, like a simple high pass filter to get rid of the low end stuff, some compression to make your voice sound rich, and then maybe some noise reduction if there's any hissing or humming or things like that. But Nick, we have something that makes this way, way easier if you don't want to mess with this kind of stuff. Because some people are just like, just tell me what to do and I will do it. So Nick, why don't you tell them about audio enhancement?
Yeah, so I have put together a mini course, kind of a mini training, like it's called audio enhancement. And I just sit down and I actually walk through how I will enhance all of the audio in both Audition, Audacity, and GarageBand, all 3 of those programs, so that you can use the one that you use and take what I am doing. So there's a video tutorial, and then I have taken screenshots of what my actual settings are, and then I am putting those in there as well. So you can have pictures of what to do, and then a video tutorial walkthrough of all of that. That will be released very, very soon. Like very, very soon. And so if you are interested in picking that up, we will talk more about it soon. But also, you'll probably get an email from us if you're on our email list, which you should be. It's
included if you've already joined our course. So I believe, right? Isn't that what we decided?
Yeah. It is. Yeah. It is included in the Podcast Blueprint course. So that's just a free bonus if you pick up the course that is coming back out so soon.
Shortly. Yes.
Shortly soon.
And it's one of those things where it's just like, if you're not a techie person, this is a simple walkthrough that Nick is doing. I'm not like the most techie person. I want to buy the right gear. I want you to tell me what presets to do and what to do, like how to mess with what buttons. I don't care what else the program does for me. I just want you to tell me what buttons to click so I can save it, so I don't have to mess with it, so I always just sound good. And that's what this mini, course, this little training is. So it will help you, it will save you a ton of time, and it's included in the course that we have coming back out very shortly. So all great information, Nick Miller. I love watching you talk. It makes my job way easier. You could have recorded this one on your own, but that's okay. I like listening to your beautiful Michael Cera voice.
Well, thank you so much. So we hope that this information here has been really helpful to you. If you have any questions, drop them in the YouTube video or go into our Facebook group, How to Make a Podcast, and just ask them. We'll be happy to answer them. What we want you to do right now, if you haven't yet, head over to perfectpodcastchallenge.com. Sign up for the challenge. It is going on this week that we drop this episode. It can really help you elevate your podcast game. We want you to be a part of it. We want to share the stuff that we have learned with that. So that's perfectpodcastchallenge.com.
Yep.
It's .com.
Yep.
Yes. John, it has been great again to hang out with you. And until next time, we will see you.
Have a great week.